Okay, so eyes are the peripheral organs of vision. Okay, both the eyes are the peripheral organs of vision. Where they are situated? They are situated in the orbit, inside the orbit. You are studying skull right now. I hope you have seen the orbit. Okay. Now, what happens whenever the light is falling on the eyeball, through cornea it will enter, and then through lens it will fall into the retina. Once it is falling into the retina, the visual impulses are generated, and that visual impulse through visual pathway it will go to the visual cortex, which is situated in the occipital lobe. After that, only the perception of the vision takes place. Okay, then only you can see the object. So the pathway of the visual impulse is not that simple. It's a very complex pathway. Okay, so unless and until the visual impulses reaches the visual cortex, you will not be able to see the object. Okay. Next, if you see the eyeball, they are spherical structure. The diameter is approximately 24 to 25 millimeter, and the eyeball which is present in the orbit. Okay, various movements of the eyeball are also taking place with the help of extraocular muscles. Okay, now those things we'll be discussing in the gross anatomy, but now I'll go straight forward into the microscopic structure, that is the three basic layers of the eyeball. Okay, now here you can see three basic layers of the eyeball. Okay, so how many layers are there? Three layers, from outwards to inwards. What are the layers? First is the fibrous coat, then middle one is the vascular coat or vascular layer, inner one is the nervous coat or the nervous layer. Okay, three layers are there from outside to inside. So which is the first one? As you can see, first one is the fibrous coat. Okay, now fibrous coat is having two components. What are those two components? Sclera and cornea. I hope you have heard about the names of this coat, sclera and cornea. Okay, these are the parts of fibrous coat. Okay, next you can see vascular coat. In vascular coat, three parts are there: choroid, ciliary, podium, iris. Okay, these are the three parts of vascular coat. And lastly, the inner nervous coat, it is made up of retina. Okay, so we have to concentrate mainly on the layers of the eyeball, the microscopic structure. Okay, next, if you see the eyeball, okay, there are two segments of the eyeball. Okay, anterior segment and posterior segment. जो eyeball होता है, it is divided into two segment, anterior segment and posterior segment. Here you can see the diagram. Okay, two segments are there: anterior segment, posterior segment. Now in the anterior segment, again it is divided into two chambers: anterior chamber and posterior chamber. Can you see the diagram? ये देखो. So this is the structure of eyeball, where you can see this is the posterior segment and this is the anterior segment. The anterior segment is extending from the anterior aspect of the cornea to the posterior aspect of the lens. This entire part is the anterior segment, and from the posterior aspect up to the part from where the optic nerve is coming out, this is the posterior segment, right? In the anterior segment, if you concentrate, it is divided into two chambers. Okay, so this is the anterior chamber in between the cornea and the iris. Next, in between the iris and the anterior aspect of the lens, this is the posterior chamber. Okay, now can anyone tell me what is present in the anterior segment and posterior segment? Yes, yes, aqueous humor and vitreous body. Aqueous humor कहाँ पे रहता है? Anterior segment, mainly in the anterior chamber. Okay, the aqueous humor is present, and here vitreous body is present. Okay, so histologically we'll come to know, or we'll understand how the aqueous humor is formed, from where it is formed. Okay, next, in this diagram, I hope you can see the three layers of the eyeball. Right, first you can see this is the fibrous coat. तो fibrous coat में दो parts आता है, sclera and the cornea. Now you have to understand one thing. Fibrous is a layer. Fibrous coat is a layer. In that layer, two components are there. That means they are present in same layer. Same layer में होता है, अलग-अलग layer में नहीं होता है. Okay. For example, If you see, so this part is the sclera and then this part is the cornea. Okay, same layer mein, though they are present in different areas, the names are different but present in same layer only. Okay, when we'll study about the microscopic structure, for cornea different layers are there, for sclera different layers are there. Okay, so that thickness is made up of different layers, microscopic layers, that we have to study. Same thing in case of vascular layer also. In vascular layer you can see three components are there. Okay, so you can see the choroid, you can see the ciliary body, this entire part is the ciliary body, and this is the iris. Okay, here also same layer but three different components. So again we have to study about the layers which are present in these three components. And lastly, the innermost is the retina, the most complex one. Okay, here also we have to study what are the different layers present. Okay, तो यहाँ का concept एक ही है, layer इसके बाद layer इसके बाद layer, only layers and layers. And that also the most difficult part is you have to know the layers serially. During writing, whenever you will be writing in the exam, तब भी serially लिखना है. That's why it is quite complicated. तो फर्स्ट विल स्टार्ट विद द फाइब्रस कोट. तो फाइब्रस कोट में पहला क्या आएगा, व्हाट विल बिकम फर्स्ट? स्क्लेरा. हैव यू हर्ड अबाउट स्क्लेरा, एनीवन? यस, कैन यू सी द स्क्लेरा डायरेक्टली? स्क्लेरा दिखाई देता है कि नहीं? हाँ हाँ, यस यस. अदर स्टूडेंट, कैन यू सी द स्क्लेरा इन योर आईबॉल? कहाँ पे दिखाई देता है? हाँ, ये जो नहीं, ये जो व्हाइट कलर का एरिया है, प्यूपिल के आजू बाजू जो व्हाइट कलर का एरिया, दैट इज द स्क्लेरा. ठीक है. कॉर्निया क्यों दिखाई नहीं देता है? व्हाई यू कांट सी द कॉर्निया? यस, इट इज ट्रांसपेरेंट इन नेचर. सो कॉर्निया देखने का भी एक तरीका है, यू कैन सी द कॉर्निया. यस यस यस. Okay, so that we'll discuss in the gross anatomy part about the features and all. Let's start with the fibrous coat. Okay, in fibrous coat, as I said, two components are there or two parts are there, sclera and cornea. Okay, so this sclera and cornea, these are the fibrous forming the fibrous coat of the eyeball. If you see the main function of the fibrous coat, okay, first of all it provides structural support to the eyeball. That means all the structures which are situated inside the eyeball, the structural support is provided by this particular sclera and cornea, the fibrous layer. Next, the sclera comprises majority of the fibrous layer. That means approximately 85% of the eyeball is covered by sclera. Only 15% is covered by cornea. Okay, जो सामने रहता है. ठीक है. Next, the sclera is important because it provides attachment to the extraocular muscles. Okay, as you can see, the extraocular muscles, okay, the extraocular muscles are attached to the sclera, and those are very important because it causes various movements of the eyeball. That means without moving your head, you can see in the left side, you can see on the right side, you can see above, you can see below, without moving your head. Without moving your head, you can see in various direction. Okay, why you can see in various direction? Because of the extraocular muscles. Those extraocular muscles, what is their function? Their function is to do various movements of the eyeball. Okay, because of that it is possible. Now extraocular muscles is a topic of gross, so that will be discussed later on. But please keep that in mind. ये जो sclera है, that provides attachment to the extraocular muscles. Okay. Next, the sclera is visible part. So ये जो white color का area जो दिखाई देता है, okay, that is nothing but the sclera. Okay. Next, cornea. Already you know that 15% of the fibrous layer is made up of cornea. Okay, it is convex in shape and it is present anteriorly. So the light which is entering our eyeball, it enters through cornea. Okay, जो भी light enter होता है, it enters through cornea, and then it will fall into the lens, and then lens will focus it into the retina. Okay, so this is how the light is passing. Now in this diagram you can see which part is sclera and which part is cornea. Okay, So as you can see, sclera is forming 5/6 of the fibrous layer, and only 1/6 layer is made up of cornea. Okay, the color codes are given as you can see over here. Okay, next, so sclera on anterior aspect it is continuing as cornea. That means there will be a junction. एक जंक्शन होगा जहां से स्क्लेरा खत्म कॉर्निया स्टार्ट होगा, राइट? दैट इज कॉल्ड एज स्क्लेरोकॉर्नियल जंक्शन. ओके, नाउ व्हाई द स्क्लेरा इज व्हाइट इन नेचर? एनी आइडिया? स्क्लेरा दिखने में व्हाइट क्यों होता है? व्हाइट इज व्हाइट. यस, नो नो नो, फाइब्रस टिश्यू. Yes, because of the refraction of the light. Okay, all the wavelengths of the light are scattered. Whenever the lights are falling into the sclera, all the wavelength colors of wavelength of the light they are scattered. That's why it appears white in nature. Okay. As you can see, human sclera is white. Why? Because the scattering of all wavelengths of light by the dense bundle of collagen fibers. Okay, and that also they are irregularly arranged. तो जो collagen fibers होता है in the sclera, they are irregularly arranged. Due to that, the light when it is falling, it gets scattered of all different wavelengths. That's why it appears white in nature. Next, in case of young children, if you see the sclera, it is bluish in color. Why? Because the sclera is very thick, and we can see the choroid, capillaries of the choroid situated deep to the sclera. That's why it is bluish in color. Next, in case of older person, it is yellowish. Why? Because of the deposition of fat, okay, or adipose tissue. So these are some variations in the color of the sclera. Next, as I said, the sclera is continuing as cornea, so that's why there will be a junction. And what is the name of that junction? Sclerocorneal junction, or also called as limbus. Limbus. Okay. Now, posterior to that limbus, okay, posterior to the limbus or sclerocorneal junction, a canal is present, and that is called as Canal of Schlemm. Okay, it is called as Canal of Schlemm. Now, have you heard about this Canal of Schlemm? Anyone? No. So in the beginning, I have shown you the anterior segment. In anterior segment, anterior chamber, posterior chamber is present. So if you concentrate on the anterior chamber, okay, at the angle, iridocorneal angle, there is a small canal. Through this canal, what happened? The aqueous humor is draining. That means aqueous humor is going back into the venous system. Aqueous humor क्या होता है? Once it is produced, okay, after that, whatever function is there, it will serve it, and then it will go back into the venous system. So like this continuous flow is taking place. Okay, so that flow, when it will go to the venous system, it goes through the Canal of Schlemm. Okay. Next, medial to the Canal of Schlemm, a triangular shaped scleral tissue is present, and it is called a scleral spar. Okay, as you can see, scleral spar. Now this also helps in the movement of this aqueous humor, very important structure. Anyone in the class heard about glaucoma? क्या होता है? No, diabetic retinopathy is different. I am not asking about diabetic retinopathy. हाँ हाँ हाँ, क्या होता है? Try to understand the thing. Diabetic retinopathy is different. Okay, that we'll discuss in retina. ग्लोकोमा में क्या होता है? जो इंट्राओकुलर प्रेशर होता है, that increases. Okay, क्यों increase होता है? Different reasons are there. Among them, one reason is ये जो aqueous humor है, उसका जो drainage होता है, in that particular part, if any blockage is there, at that time the drainage will not take place properly. As a result, more amount of fluid will accumulate inside the eyeball. As a result, the pressure will increase. That condition is called as glaucoma. Okay. Next, so the optic nerve. Okay, optic nerve is very important. It is attached to the back of the eyeball. Okay. Now here the sclera is perforated, just like a sieve by the optic nerve. So fibers of the optic nerve, what it will do, how it will come out from the eyeball, it has to pierce the sclera. After piercing the sclera, it comes out. Okay, so the area which is pierced, that particular area is called as lamina cribrosa. Okay, now for your reference, please see the diagram. Now in this diagram you can see the sclerocorneal junction. So this part is the sclera, this part is the cornea. So you can see sclerocorneal junction. Okay, now just behind the sclerocorneal junction you can see a canal is there. This is called as canal of Schlemm, or also called as sinus venosus sclerae. Okay, so see, this particular part is the anterior chamber. Okay, what is present over here? Aqueous humor is present. Okay, now after production of the aqueous humor, the drainage is also important. Okay, so like this, through this canal of Schlemm, it is draining and it is going back into the venous system. Next, you can see medial to this, a triangular shaped scleral tissue is there. This is called the scleral spar. Okay, it is also having an important function for the drainage of aqueous humor. Okay, aqueous humor. हाँ, drainage मतलब movement means together it is called as aqueous humor dynamics. Okay, next, so you have seen the sclera, where the sclera is present, where the cornea is present. Okay, now we'll see the structure of the sclera, microscopic structure. Okay, so 3 layers are there in the sclera. Okay, so from outward to inward, that means from outermost part to the innermost part, sclera is divided into 3 layers. What are they? Episclera, sclera proper, and lamina fusca. These are the 3 layers. Okay, so you have to know what are present, what is present in these 3 different layers one by one. Okay, so first of all, episclera is vascularized layer. Along with that, connective tissue is also present. Okay, densely vascularized layer of connective tissue. And if you see the episclera, it is situated just below the Tenon's capsule. Now the question is, what is this Tenon's capsule? When you will study the orbit, okay, this orbit in norma frontalis, at that time you will come to know that inside the orbit eyeball is situated. Okay. Now this eyeball is covered, is having a facial covering which separates the eyeball from the fibrofatty tissue of the orbit. Okay, so that is the Tenon's capsule. Just deep to the Tenon capsule, the layer which is present, it is called as episclera. Okay. Now in episclera, what is present? As I said, it is a vascularized layer of connective tissue. Along with blood vessels, we are getting unmyelinated nerve fibers and bundles of collagen fibers, fibroblast, and some melanocytes are present. Okay. Now this episclera is blending with the conjunctival tissue. Okay, we'll discuss what is conjunctiva. Okay, and it becomes very thin at the equator of the eyeball. Okay, posterior to the equator of the eyeball, it becomes very thin. Why? Because it is pierced by the optic nerve. That's why the thickness reduces. Okay, so this is episclera. Next is the sclera proper. Sclera proper is the thick part of the sclera. Most of the thickness of the sclera is made up of this sclera proper. It is also called as substantia propria. Now, if you see the ultrastructure, that means EM structure, then what you will see? You will see that it is made up of bundles of collagen fibers, elastic fibers, fibroblasts, and along with that, some ground substances are also present. Okay, that is proteoglycans and glycoproteins. Okay, these are the components of sclera proper. Now, see here I have mentioned that bundles of collagen fibers are present. Okay. Now those bundles of collagen fibers, whatever they are present in the sclera proper, the thickness of those fibers are not uniform. It ranges from 40 to 50 to 400 micrometer. Okay, and the direction are irregular. That means the arrangement of the collagen fibers, bundles of the collagen fibers are irregular, and that is a reason why sclera is non-transparent. Okay. Next, some fibroblast cells are also present because they will do the synthesizing of collagen fiber, proteoglycans, and glycoproteins. Okay, so that is the sclera proper. Next, lastly, the lamina fusca. Okay, that is the innermost layer. Now here you can see abundant pigment cells are present. Along with that, connective tissue is there, which is loosely arranged. Now this lamina fusca is separated from the choroid. Choroid is a part of vascular layer. Okay, so it is separated from the choroid by a potential space that is called as suprachoroidal lamina. Okay, suprachoroidal lamina is an important potential space which is used for different surgical intervention. Along with that, to deliver drugs, okay, into the eyeball, this particular space is used. Okay, now here is the diagram. If you see the diagram, you can see all the three layers of the sclera. Okay, so first you can see the episclera. ये देखो, so this is the episclera just below the tetanus capsule. And as I mentioned, episclera is a vascularized layer. Vascularized layer where connective tissue is also present. Next, most of the thickness of the sclera is made up of stroba. Okay. What is present in this particular layer? As you can see, bundles of collagen fibers are there, and along with that, fibroblasts are also present. Okay. Now, in this layer, proteoglycans and glycoproteins are also present. This layer, the collagen fibers are irregularly arranged. Due to that, the sclera is non-transparent in nature. And due to that, see here you are getting the lamina fusca, where loosely arranged connective tissue is present, and along with that, abundant quantity of melanocytes are present or pigment cells are present. Okay, so that is the structure of sclera. Okay. Next, after sclera, what will be the next part? Cornea. Okay. Now here you can see the structure of cornea. So anterior 1/6, okay, of the eyeball is covered by cornea, which is transparent in nature. And if you see the shape, it is convex. Anterior 1/6 sclera is replaced by cornea. It is transparent in nature and convex. Okay, so if you see the cornea, it is avascular. What is the meaning of avascular? No blood supply. Blood supply नहीं रहता है उसमें. Okay, but it is having rich nerve supply. That is the most important point for the cornea. Okay. Next, if you see the microscopic structure of cornea, how many layers are there? 5 layers are there. Okay. So first you can see lining epithelium, or also called as corneal epithelium. Then the corneal epithelium is lying down in a basement membrane that is called as Bowman's membrane. Then the corneal stroma. The main thickness of the gland is formed by the corneal stroma, followed by the Descemet's membrane, which is also called as true basement membrane. Okay, and lastly the corneal endothelium. Okay, corneal endothelium. Now here all the layers are arranged particularly. That means from outside to inside. So which is the outermost layer? यहाँ पे outermost layer कौन सा होगा? Cornea? No, corneal endothelium is the innermost layer. Epithelium. ठीक है, corneal epithelium is the outermost layer. ठीक है, and corneal endothelium is the innermost layer. So can anyone tell me, if the cornea is avascular in nature, then how it will get the nutrients? Because cells are there, fibers are there, it needs nutrients. Huh? Very good. From aqueous humor. Okay. So in which side the aqueous humor will be present? यहाँ पे रहेगा या यहाँ पे रहेगा? No, endothelium में रहेगा. See, you have to understand thing. अभी तक समझ में नहीं आ रहा है तुम लोगों को. That's why you are doing the mistake. Okay, let me show you the diagram first. Then I will come into the discussion. See, this is the diagram showing the microscopic structure of cornea. Okay? How many layers are there in the cornea? 5 layers are there. Now, if you see, starting, this is the corneal epithelium, okay, which is stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. Okay. Now, here also it's not that simple. We'll discuss how the cells are arranged. Stratified का मतलब क्या है? What is the meaning of stratified? Multiple layers. So, in multiple layers, how the cells are arranged, that also you have to know. Particular arrangement है इसमें, ठीक है? वो समझना है. Now here you can see, so this particular area or this side is the outermost layer. ये जो है this is the outermost layer. तो whenever you are opening your eye, कॉर्निया का जो दिखाई दे रहा है ना, जो outermost है उसमें ये रहता है, कॉर्नियल एपिथेलियम रहता है, और जो कॉर्निया का जो अंदर वाला पार्ट है उसमें ये रहता है, एंडोथेलियम रहता है. ओके, एंड डीप टू द एंडोथेलियम व्हाट इज प्रेजेंट? एक्वस ह्यूमर. ओके, दैट मीन्स यहाँ पे एक्वस ह्यूमर रहेगा, तो यहाँ से न्यूट्रिशन जाएगा. ओके, सिर्फ न्यूट्रिशन ही नहीं जाता है, अदर फंक्शंस आर आल्सो देयर. ओके, दैट विल डिस्कस इन द एंडोथेलियम पार्ट. So short question यहाँ से आता है, what is the corneal epithelium or which epithelium is present in corneum? ऐसे question आता है, short question. Okay, multiple options will be there, from that you have to choose. Okay, so corneal epithelium, as I said, it is stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. Okay, now as it is stratified, that means multiple layers of cells are present. How they are arranged, that you have to understand. First of all, you can see the deepest layer are columnar, middle layers are polygonal, and superficial layers are flattened or squamous. This is the arrangement of the cell. पहले क्या आएगा? Columnar, इसके बाद polygonal, इसके बाद flattened or squamous. This is how the cells are arranged. Next, if you see the EM structure of those cells, then the superficial cells, they are having microvilli, or it is also called as folds of plasma membrane in this case. Now the question is why it is present? Because it prevents the drying of the cornea. Okay, तो कॉर्निया का जो सरफेस लेयर है उसमें एक थिन फिल्म फ्लूइड अटैच रहता है. ओके, तो इफ those microvilli are present, it will not allow the thin film fluid to dry rapidly. Okay, it will slow down this particular process. Okay, so as you can see, these folds are believed to play important role in retaining the film of fluid over the surface of the cornea, which will not allow it to dry. Okay, have you heard about the dryness of the eye? In many cases, I hope you will see that the dryness of the eye is taking place. Person used to get irritated, irritation feeling is taking place. Okay, sometimes a burning sensation is also there. Okay, this mainly occurs when this thin film fluid, if the secretion is less or if it is evaporating fast. Okay, mainly it occurs whenever you are sitting under a strong air conditioned room. Okay, where drying of the thin film fluid is taking place very fast. Okay, at that time such kind of phenomena takes place. Okay, not always, but it is taking place. Okay, so that is the corneal epithelium. Now the corneal epithelium is resting. कहाँ पे rest करेगा? For that a basement membrane is there, and that is called as the Women's membrane. Now before going to this, this diagram you don't have to draw. Okay, this is for your understanding. So देखो, this is a 3D diagram. Now in this 3D diagram, I hope you can see the layers of the cells. You can see the multiple layers of the cells, right? Because it is stratified. Next, the cells which are present superficially. Can you see the microvilli from the cell surface? I hope you can see microvilli दिखाई दे रहा है. तो इसका फंक्शन क्या है? जो थिन फिल्म फ्लूइड है उसको ड्राई नहीं होने देगा क्विकली. Okay, thus it preventing the dryness of the cornea. That's why it is given. Next, the lining epithelium where it is lying. So this is the epithelium where it is lying. The layer which is present, that is called as Bowman's membrane. So this is the layer, or you can say the basement membrane where the epithelium is lying. Okay. Now what is present in the Bowman's membrane? The Bowman's membrane is a homogeneous layer. Okay. If you see the thickness 8 to 10 micrometer. So it is a homogeneous membrane 8 to 10 micrometer. Randomly oriented collagen fibrils are present in this particular layer. Okay, it prevents the spread of infection, and along with that it provides support to the corneal epithelium. जो corneal epithelium है उसको support provide कराता है. Okay, And if this particular layer get damaged, then repairing is not taking place fast. At that time, there will be impairment in the vision. Okay. Next layer. What is the next layer? Corneal stroma. Most of the thickness of the cornea is made up of this particular layer, the corneal stroma, 90%. Okay. Now the question is, what is present in this layer? Okay. So mainly you can see the collagen fibers are present, that also in the form of lamellae. So bundles of collagen fibers present in the lamellae. That means layers are there, and in each and every layer, bundles of collagen fibers are present. Now here the collagen fibers are arranged particularly. Okay, for example, as you can see, uh, stroma is transparent because of the orderly arrangement of the collagen fibers. Okay, between the adjacent lamellae, ground substance and flattened fibroblast cells are also present. Now, if you see the arrangement, okay, each lamellae are arranged parallel to each other, whereas the fibers are perpendicular to each other in the adjacent lamellae. So that is a particular arrangement of the bundles of collagen fibers. And due to this particular arrangement, the cornea is transparent in nature. Okay. Next, along with the collagen fibers, bundles of collagen fibers, some amount of ground substance is there, and along with that, fibroblast cells are also present. And ground substance are mainly made up of proteoglycans. Okay. Now, if you see the fibroblast, in this case, it is star-shaped, and they are also called as keratocytes. Okay. So that is all about the corneal stroma. Next, what is the next layer? Descemet's membrane. Okay, substantia propria or Descemet's membrane. Deep to the substantia propria, Descemet membrane is present. Now, Descemet membrane is also called as true basement membrane. It is acellular in nature. That means cells nahi rehta hai isme. So if cells are not there, then what will be present? Different types of proteins are present. Okay. So you can see the list of protein: fibronectin, laminin, then type 4, type 8 collagen fibers, proteoglycans, heparan sulfate, keratin sulfate. Okay. Like these different types of proteins are present in this Descemet membrane. And under BAS method, it appears bright magenta. Okay. Now, this particular Descemet membranes, it helps to maintain the curvature of the cornea. Cornea का जो curvature है, इसको maintain रखने में help करता है this Descemet's membrane. Okay. And lastly is the corneal endothelium. Now, can anyone tell me what is the meaning of endothelium? Yes. No, no, innermost layer पता है, but what is the endothelium? Yes, yes, very good. You have studied about the blood vessels chapter. Corneal endothelium is okay. I am asking about only endothelium. You have studied about blood vessels chapter. So in the lumen of the blood, any blood vessel, which lining epithelium is there? It's the endothelium. Okay. Nothing but simple squamous epithelium. Okay. Now, can anyone tell me what is mesothelium? Anyone, what is mesothelium? I'll give you the hint. I'll not give you the answer. This you have studied during peritoneal cavity. When you have studied the peritoneum chapter, at that time you have studied about mesothelium. No, that is mesentery. Mesentery is different. I am asking about mesothelium. Likho, right, everyone. Find out what is mesothelium. देखो यहाँ से शॉर्ट क्वेश्चन आता है, ऐसे ही शॉर्ट क्वेश्चन आता है, ठीक है? No. Mesothelial cells. Okay, I'm giving the hint. In peritoneal cavity, you have studied about the mesothelium. Okay, just find it out. Okay, so Descemet membrane is done. Next is the corneal endothelium. Now, this layer is very important for the cornea. Why it is important for the cornea? First of all, it lines the posterior surface of the cornea. Okay, which type of cells are present? Simple squamous epithelium. That also in single layer. Okay. Next, you can see this anterior endothelium of the anterior chamber of the eyeball, and it is in direct contact with the aqueous humor. Okay, तो जो endothelium होता है corneal endothelium, it is in direct contact with the aqueous humor. Okay, now the cells of the corneal endothelium, they are having different types of cell junctions. For example, zonula adherens, zonula occludens, and desmosomes. These are the different types of cell junctions which are present in the corneal endothelium. Now function क्या है? It maintains the water balance in the corneal stroma. Okay, if excess water is present in the corneal stroma, it will pump out those water. Okay, thus it maintains the transparency of the cornea. Okay, so that is one of the important function of corneal endothelium. Okay, next in cornea part, this is the diagram. Okay, this diagram you have to draw in your practical notebook showing the layers of the cornea. Okay, so that is all about the cornea. Next is the sclera हो गया, cornea हो गया. What is next? No, choroid. Okay, choroid, ciliary body, then iris. Now, if anyone asks you what is the reason behind the transparency of cornea, give some reasons behind the transparency of cornea. Okay, so these are the reasons. First of all, it is not vascular, so blood vessels are not there. Then regular arrangement of the collagen fibers, proper arrangements are there. Along with that, the refractive index of the collagen fibers and the ground substance are same, which you can see during hyaline cartilage. If you remember about the hyaline cartilage. Okay. Next, uniform and regular arrangement of the anterior epithelium and relative state of corneal dehydration, which is done by the endothelium. That's why cornea is transparent in nature. Okay. Okay. So fibrous layer is done. Next layer is the vascular layer. Before going to the vascular layer, there is another name given to the vascular layer, that is called as uveal tract. UVEAL. Uveal tract. Okay? Uveal tract, vascular coat, meaning same. In some books I have seen uveal tracts they have used. Okay? Don't get confused. Now, in this particular diagram, you can see this particular part, sclera is over. Now we are in choroid. Okay, now we will study about this particular layer. Okay. So choroid is a part of which layer? Vascular layer. Okay. Now here color codes are given so that you can see three parts of the vascular coat. Okay. First we will be discussing about the choroid. ये पूरा choroid है. ठीक है. And then this is the ciliary body and this is the iris. Here also the concept is same, nothing else, only layers. In choroid also multiple layers are there, ciliary body also layers, iris also layers, all layers, nothing else. और कुछ नहीं है इसमें. Can you guess how many layers are there in the choroid? Anyone? What are they? Okay, you are right. 3 layers are there in the choroid. Okay. The choroid is a pigmented vascular layer of the eyeball. Okay, pigmented plus vascular layer. That means pigment cells are also there. Along with that, vascular means blood vessels are also there in the choroid. Okay, because we have seen in case of cornea, blood vessels are not there. Okay, but in case of choroid, blood vessels are present. Okay, now if you see the extension of the choroid, okay, so anteriorly it is ending at ora serrata. Ora serrata actually it is a extension, okay, of the retina. It is a tooth-like junction between the peripheral retina and pars plana. Okay, now what is peripheral retina, pars plana? That will be discussed in the gross anatomy. Just keep that in mind. The anterior extension of the choroid is ora serrata. Okay. Next, if you see the choroid, okay, it is merging with the ciliary body, and posteriorly it is pierced by optic nerve. So posteriorly optic nerve is coming out. When it will come out, it has to pierce the choroid. It has to pierce the sclera also. Okay. For your reference, let me show you the diagram. Can you see the optic nerve? ये देखो optic nerve नहीं है, ठीक है? Don't think that this is optic nerve. Some student used to do the mistake. ये optic nerve नहीं है. This is called as haloid canal. Okay, ये embryonic tissue है. This is not optic nerve. Optic nerve ये है. This is the optic nerve. Now you can see optic nerve. It has to pierce the sclera. So see, it is piercing the sclera, right? Next, it has to pierce the choroid also. So see here, it is piercing the choroid. Now, the choroid is very important. Why it is important? Because, as I said, it contains blood vessels. Okay. Now, these particular blood vessels, it provide nutrition, especially oxygen to the outer aspect of the retina. Okay, तो जो retina होता है, actually it is having 10 different layers. Retina जो होता है उसका 10 layers होता है. So for that, blood supply is not from one source. Multiple sources are there from which blood is supplying the retina. Okay, because so many layers are there. तो जो outer aspect of the retina है, outer 2-3 layers, how they will get the nutrient? They are getting nourishment from the blood vessels of the choroid. Okay, that's why choroid is very important. As you can see, this particular choroid contains the retinal pigment epithelial cells. So pigmented epithelial cells are also present, and it provides oxygen and nourishment to the outer aspect of the retina or outer part of the retina. Okay. Next, in choroid, how many layers are there? 3 layers are there. Okay, suprachoroid lamina, choroid proper, and basal lamina are also called as branch membrane. Okay, so just now I have mentioned that the nutrition is given to the outer aspect of the retina from the choroid. How it is reaching the retina? By branch membrane. Okay. Now, can anyone tell me ये जो 3 layer है, among them which is the innermost layer and which is the outermost layer? Any idea? Suprachoroid will be the yes, and this is the innermost. Okay, that means ठीक इसके नीचे क्या रहेगा? Retina. Okay, ठीक इसके नीचे retina रहेगा. Means deep to this retina will be there. That means outer layers of the retina will be present deep to this. Okay, because this is providing nourishment to the outer aspect of the retina. Okay, तो मैं इतना टाइम से बकबक कर रहा हूँ, पानी तुमको प्यास लगा है. वेट करो. Unless and until I finish, no one will go out. Okay. Now here you can see the diagram. Okay. Now this diagram you have to draw in your practical notebook. But what you will do while drawing the diagram, just draw up to this much. ठीक है, इतना तक draw करना है. Please ignore that particular part. Is it clear, everyone? Please listen carefully. Whenever you will draw the diagram, यहाँ से लेके यहाँ तक draw करना है. ठीक है, ये जो ऐसे bracket दिया हुआ है, ये ignore करना है. Don't draw this diagram. Okay. Why I am telling you? Because here the layers of the retina are shown. Okay. Till now we have not discussed the retina. That will be discussing next week. And for retina, I am having an easy diagram. At that time, I will share that diagram. ठीक है? तो अभी नहीं, ये कलर का उतना वो नहीं है. This is not H&E diagram. ठीक है? तो H&E diagram नहीं है तो you can draw with normal pencil. ठीक है? This is not H&E. यहाँ पे H&E सिर्फ एक ही था जो कॉर्निया का था. Rest H&E नहीं है because those are EM structure. EM structure में H&E नहीं होता है. ठीक है? तो यहाँ से लेके यहाँ तक ड्रॉ करना है. ठीक है? ऊपर वाला पार्ट ड्रॉ नहीं करना है. If you don't feel like giving colors, don't give any color. Draw with normal pencil, it is okay. But labeling should be same. What you can see in this layer, in the diagram, can you see the layers of choroid? ये देखो यहाँ पे choroid का layers दिखाई दे रहा है. ठीक है? So you can see the suprachoroidal lamina. After that, this is the choroid proper, and this is the branch membrane. ठीक है? Now, in the choroid proper, you can see different layers of blood vessels are present. Okay, Heller's layer, Steller's layer, and choriocapillaris. तो उतना details में मैंने नहीं गया. It's not required also. जस्ट कीप दैट इन माइंड. जो कोरोइड स्ट्रोमा होता है मेनली उसमें डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ ब्लड वेसल्स आर प्रेजेंट. ओके, तो हेलर्स लेयर में मेनली आर्टरीज, लार्ज आर्टरीज रहता है. इसमें क्या होता है, मेनली वेन्स रहता है, एंड इसमें कोरिको कैपिलरीज रहता है. Okay, like this different arrangement of blood vessels are present in the choroid, because in the beginning I have told you choroid is nothing but a pigmented vascular layer. Pigment भी रहता है, blood vessels भी रहता है. ठीक है. Next you can see this is the Bruch's membrane. Okay, Bruch's membrane is very important. Why it is important? Because यहाँ से जो nutrition है it will go to the retina, outer aspect of the retina through this membrane. Now the question is then why it is important? जो ब्रांच मेम्ब्रेन होता है इट इज हाईली सिलेक्टिव, इट इज हैविंग हाईली सिलेक्टिव परमेबिलिटी. तो सम न्यूट्रिएंट्स आर ओनली अलाउड टू गो थ्रू दैट पर्टिकुलर ब्रांच मेम्ब्रेन एंड रीच द आउटर एस्पेक्ट ऑफ द रेटिना, एंड अलोंग विद दैट द वेस्ट मटेरियल जो होता है रेटिना का उसका एक्सचेंज भी होता है थ्रू दिस ब्रांच मेम्ब्रेन. ओके, नाउ अगेन इन द ब्रांच मेम्ब्रेन another 5 layers are there. Okay, so see here in case of choroid what we have seen, how many layers are there in the choroid? 3 layers are there. ठीक है, first is the suprachoroidal lamina, then this is the choroid proper, and this is the branch membrane. ठीक है. Now again when you go to the branch membrane उसमें और 5 layers है. Okay, and this is also called as pentalaminar structure of branch membrane. For that again we need EM structure. Without EM structure you cannot see the layers of the branch membrane. In the beginning I have told you इसमें कुछ नहीं है, only layers, layer after layer. So first is the suprachoroid lamina. Okay, it is non-vascular layer, suprachoroid lamina, made up of delicate connective tissue containing different types of fibers. Collagen fibers are there, elastic fibers are there, and some pigment cells are present. Okay, along with that a nerve plexus is also present in the suprachoroidal lamina. Next to the suprachoroidal lamina, or deep to the suprachoroidal lamina, what is present? Choroid proper. So just now I have shown you what is present in the choroid proper. Different types of blood vessels are there. Okay, Heller's layer, Steller's layer, and coриcocapillaries. Okay, next in choroid proper some pigmented cells are also present. Okay, now blood vessels तो है, we can understand that blood vessels are there because it will provide nutrition. Now the question is those pigment cells, why those pigment cells are present? Now those pigment cells, what they will do, they will absorb the reflected light. क्या होता है, whenever light is entering the eyeball, okay, some reflections are taking place. Okay, and those reflected light should not go and fall into the retina. Okay, because retina में कोई भी light गिरेगा it will produce the visual impulse. Okay, तो जो reflected light है उससे visual impulse produce नहीं करना. For that pigmented cells are given, they will absorb the light. As a result, जो reflection हो भी रहा है, then it will not go and fall into the retina. That's why those pigment cells are given. Okay. So as you can see in the choroid proper, different types of blood vessels are present. Okay. Next, you can see nutrients diffusing out of the capillaries pass to the basal lamina to provide nutrition to the outer layers of the retina. Okay, and this diffusion is taking place through which layer? Bruch's membrane. Okay. Next is the Bruch's membrane. So here you can see the structure of the Bruch's membrane. तो Bruch's membrane में क्या रहता है? It is a pentalaminar structure. Okay, in which if you see the location in between the retinal pigment epithelium and the fenestrated choroidal capillaries, in between these two layers the Bruch's membrane is present. Okay, it is elastin and collagen rich extracellular matrix layer. Okay, and it acts as a molecular sieve. That means it is having selected permeability. And what is the function? As you can see, it regulates the exchange of biomolecules, nutrients, oxygen, and metabolic waste product between the retina and general circulation. Outer aspect of the retina and general circulation. So that is the function of Bruch's membrane. Okay. So in the beginning I mentioned it is a pentalaminar structure. So how many layers will be there? 5 layers will be there. Okay. So first you can see तो यहाँ पे can you tell me which is the innermost layer, which is the outermost layer of the Bruch's membrane? This is the how it will be innermost? ये towards retina है, that means it will be the innermost layer, and this will be the outermost layer because this is towards the choroid. Okay. So first you can see the basement membrane of the retinal pigment epithelium. तो retina का जो pigment cells है उसका basement membrane. After that you can see a bundle of collagen fibers, inner collagen zone, then central band of elastic fibers, outer collagenous zone, and then basement membrane for the auriculocapillaries. Okay. So let me show you the diagram. Okay. So for that, what we need? We need electron microscope. Under normal microscope, you will not be able to see the layers. So this is the diagram. So which side is the retina? Yes, this side is the retina and this side is choroid. Okay. So you can see the layers. So which layer is? So this is the innermost layer. And this is the outermost layer. Okay. So here you can see retinal pigment epithelium layer का basement membrane. So this is the retinal pigment epithelium. This is the basement membrane. Okay. After that you can see inner collagenous zone. See this is the inner collagenous zone. Then this is the band of elastic fibers. Then this is the outer collagenous zone. Okay. And this is the basement membrane for the choroid capillaries. Okay. So this is the Bruch's membrane. So through this membrane only क्या हो रहा है? The exchange is taking place. So like this, ये जो retina का outer 2-3 layers है, they are getting blood supply, they are getting nutrients directly from the choroid. Okay. Now which molecule will pass through the Bruch's membrane? That will be decided by the Bruch's membrane itself, because it is having selective permeability. Everything cannot pass. Okay. Why it is required? Any idea? Because structure of retina is very delicate. Everything, if it is going over there, it can cause damage to the delicate structure of retina. That's why selective permeability is important. Okay. So details we will study in this one, physiology. अगर होता है class में तो you will study during that. So all about the choroid. Next is the ciliary body. Can you see the ciliary body over here? Ciliary body is also the part of vascular layer. Okay, vascular layer का 3 part है. First part is done, that is choroid. Second, now here is second part, that is the ciliary body. So here you can see this is the ciliary body. Okay. So it is the thickened part of the uveal tract. What is the meaning of uveal tract? Vascular layer. Okay, that's why I have also mentioned over here. So if you see the ciliary body, where it is located, just posterior to the limbus. What is limbus? Sclerocorneal junction, or also called as limbus. ये देखो, this is the sclerocorneal junction. यहाँ पे sclera है, यहाँ पे cornea है. Just posterior to that, you can see the ciliary body is situated. Okay. Now it is the continuation of iris anteriorly. So ciliary body का anterior continuation is iris and posterior continuation is choroid. Okay. Next you can see from ciliary body the lens is suspended. The lens is attached to the ciliary body with the help of suspensory ligament of lens. Can you see? ये देखो, this is the lens. ये ciliary body है, and these zonular fibers are forming the suspensory ligament of the lens. ठीक है? So ciliary body is also helping in the accommodation of the eyeball to see objects at different distance. What is the meaning of this? Now suppose you are looking at a object. ठीक है? Suppose you are looking at an object. If I place another object in front, directly you can't see it. You have to focus it. ठीक है? So that is called the accommodation of the eyeball. For that, shape of the lens is changed, and that is done by the active contraction of the muscles which are present in the ciliary body. Okay, so there is also important function of the ciliary body. Okay, next microscopic structure of ciliary body. Okay, can you guess how many layers are there in the ciliary body? Any idea? How many layers are there in the ciliary body? लिखा है, it's written. 5 layers are there. ठीक है। तो देखो इन द बिगिनिंग आई हैव टोल्ड यू इसमें कुछ नहीं है, only layers after layers. Again when we will go to the iris उसमें भी layers है, 4 layers are there. Next when we will go to the retina 10 layers are there. So what do you think what we will do with these layers? What we will do with these layers? क्या करोगे layers के साथ? You have to understand those layers. You have to understand the structure. Okay. एग्जाम में आया तो लिखना पड़ेगा. You have to write about the layers. Okay, so 5 layers are there. So first of all, superciliary lamina is there. Okay, then stroma is present. So superciliary lamina में क्या रहता है? As you can see, outermost part or outermost layer of the ciliary body is the superciliary lamina. Okay, condensed part of the stroma. इसमें क्या रहता है? Pigmented collagen fibers are there. And posteriorly it is a continuation of the suprachoroidal lamina, and anteriorly it continues with the anterior limiting membrane of the iris. Okay, so that is the superciliary or supraciliary lamina. Next, or deep to the supraciliary lamina, we can see the stroma of the ciliary body. ठीक है, इसमें क्या रहता है? It consists of collagen fibers and fibroblasts. In that, ciliary muscles are present, blood vessels are there, nerve fibers are there. Okay, though muscles are present, so to supply those muscle, nerve fibers will be there. Okay, so that's why you can see ciliary muscle, vascular stroma, that means blood vessels are there, nerve fibers, pigment cells, and other types of cells are present in the stroma. Okay, now can you tell me which type of muscles are there in the ciliary body? Which type of muscles are present? Muscles are there in the ciliary body. 3 groups of muscles are there. Okay, means the muscle fibers, they are arranged in 3 different sets. Oblique is there, longitudinal is there, circular muscle fibers are there. So which type of muscle fibers are this? Smooth muscle fibers. Okay, these are not skeletal muscle fibers. These are smooth muscle fibers. Okay, तो फंक्शन क्या होगा? ये जो मसल फाइबर्स रहता है, सिलियरिस मसल बोलता है. उसका फंक्शन क्या है? Mainly, as I said, the 3 different group of fibers are there. Mainly, if you see, the most important function is it changes the shape of the lens, which is required for accommodation of the eyeball. ठीक है? Next important function, it helps in aqueous humor drainage. Okay, it helps in the aqueous humor drainage. So these are some important functions of the ciliaris muscle or ciliary muscles. Okay, next 2 layers of epithelial cells are there. Okay, outer and inner epithelial cells. So these are called as pigmented epithelium and non-pigmented epithelium. Okay, so if you see the pigmented epithelium, this is the continuation of retinal pigment epithelium. Okay, now it is continuous with the anterior pigment epithelial of the iris. Anteriorly, it will become the anterior pigment epithelial cells of the iris. Next, another layer of pigmented cells are there, and these are called as non-pigmented epithelial cells. Mainly, they are low columnar to cuboidal in nature. Okay. Now, if you see the non-pigmented epithelial cells, the main function of these epithelial cells are to produce the aqueous humor. Aqueous humor का जो production होता है from this particular cells, it is taking place. Actually, in the ciliary body, okay, some projections are there. Okay, 70 to 85 projections are there. Okay, those are called as ciliary processes. Okay, inside that blood vessels are present and capillaries are present, and it is lined by this double layer epithelium. तो उसमें जो non-pigmented epithelium cells है, those are producing the aqueous humor. Okay. And lastly, the internal limiting membrane, okay, which is a non-pigmented epithelium, and it is the continuation of internal limiting membrane of the retina. Okay, so here you can see some layers at the continuation of retina, and from ciliary body anteriorly it continues to the iris. And let me show you the diagram. So the diagram is not that clear. Okay. Actually, if you see the histo book, I don't know which book you are following. in most of the books, the diagram, microscopic structure of this choroid and ciliary body, it's not given. Even for the iris also, microscopic structure is not given. You can check the book. Okay. So what I have done, I am having a different book. From there, I have taken the image. That's why it's not that clear. Okay, but still you can see the layers. Okay, can you see all the layers of the ciliary body? Okay, तो ये देखो ये ciliary body का all the layers है. तो first you can see the internal limiting membrane. ये देखो this is the internal limiting membrane. Then non-pigmented one, then pigmented. After that, this is the stroma, which is making the most thickened part of the layer, and then you can see the supraciliary lamina. This is the supraciliary lamina. Okay, so these are the layers of ciliary body. Okay, now ciliary body ka main function already I have discussed. Here you can see. Can you see dot? These dots. These are nothing but the cut section of ciliary muscle. Okay, and along with that, here you can see the fibers. These are called as zonular fibers. Together they are forming the suspensory ligament of lens. ठीक है, तो ये जो मसल का contraction relaxation होगा, what they will do? They will change the shape of the lens, which helps in the accommodation of the eyeball whenever you see any far object and near object. Okay, so that's all about the